Now we have what we call our seller preferred terms. So now I go, excellent. So the transition, write that word down. We're always transitioning from one piece to the next. We just finished giving our value proposition, our strategy. Now what are we not going to do? Ask them if they have any questions. And this is going to be hard. Your natural instinct is to show them something and go, okay, any questions on that? And then they're going to go, yeah, how much do you spend on staging? How much do you do on, how fast is this going to be? All this, you're going to get grenade after grenade after grenade blown up all around you. And then you're going to have to scramble rhythm, 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 rhythm and cadence. So we finish showing them everything. Without even barely taking a breath, you go, excellent. So Susie, what would you like to set the initial asking price at so that we can create as much energy as possible for your home? Now, at this junction, you're going to get a couple of different responses. The number one response that you might get is, I don't know, what do you think? We'll talk about that. They might say a number that is astronomically higher than the number that you believe this needs to be at to create the energy, to make sure that, when I say energy, the buyer response that is going to cause them to have great offers, multiple offers, and drive their price up to higher than market value and record-breaking prices. So I'm going to talk about the agreement, then we're going to go back to that. When you pull this out, all you're doing is you're taking the order. You're not going to disagree on price when they tell you a price. You're not going to have any other conversations about it. If you know that that house should sell for 500 and they say they want 650, you go, great, 650. You write 650 down on your piece of paper. Then the next question is, so Susie, what's your preferred closing date? What day would you like to close on the home, be done and ready to go? They might be like, I'm not really sure. We've been giving that some thought. Okay, and remember, this is all just a hypothetical. We're just getting a generalized game plan. Do you think 30 days, 60 days? What are you thinking? Yeah, I mean, we'd like to probably close and be out of the house on July 3rd. Okay, great. July 3rd, excellent. Whatever they say, if they say 6 months from now, don't even question it. Don't go 6 months. Well, that's not going to work for most buyers. Not yet. I'm going to tell you how to address this later. You go, okay, 6 months. Then we're going to go, and I know every area is different in how you handle earnest and money, and you guys can customize this sheet to whatever you want. But here in Colorado, we have an earnest money, a deposit that's put down when somebody makes an offer on the home. So I go, Susie, do you know how much you would like to have for the earnest money? This is the money that a buyer's going to put down to secure the property for you taking it off the market. And Susie, when we think about earnest money, all we're really doing is trying to make sure that you're protected, that if in the final hours, this buyer bails on the contract, they lose their job, something cataclysmic happens, there's some sort of issue, it's the money that they're going to provide you because you might have already boxed up your house. I know you've got the 6 Great Danes, you had to put them in the kennel. It's going to be really money for your pain and suffering, because then we're going to have to put the property back on the market again and do this all over again. So it's really money to protect you. So do you know how much you would like to have for that? There's psychology built into this. Remember these words. You're never going to recommend. You're never going to say, I think, I suggest. In my personal opinion, I believe that you should do about 10 grand. You are going to consult them on this number, and they might go, well, I have no idea. And they're going to either say, so what's typical or what's normal? And you're going to go, well, there is no average or standard. I have some comparables here, and the several that have closed ranged anywhere from 5 to 15,000. We see a lot of times anyone doing from about 1 to 3% of the initial asking price, but it completely depends on you. Sometimes, Susie, the higher we go up in earnest money could discourage buyers to maybe not want to make an offer on the property if they don't have that kind of cash to put down. And then the lower we go, it's going to open us up to more buyers, but it could put you in risk if the buyer defaults at the end. So I know some of you are going, I usually just tell them the amount, and where I'm at, we do the standard thing. Just remember, the whole time here, we're putting them in the driver's seat. They're driving, they're driving. We're here making sure they stay on the road, okay? So now if they go, well, if it's a $500,000 house, they're like, why don't we do 100 grand in earnest money? You'd be like, well, let's talk through that, right? So most buyers that are going to be purchasing a $500,000 home aren't going to have $100,000 cash to put down in a deposit for earnest money. So unfortunately, that probably would not work. As I said before, the previous listings were at this, this, and this, and you can show them that. And you can say usually it's about 1 to 3%. Long story short, get to a reasonable number that makes sense for your market, right? That's what we're trying to accomplish there. And then the last piece, as you can see, are there any items that you would specifically like to include or exclude? Now, when we went through the home and we toured it with purpose, we were taking notes, and I'm identifying wall-mounted TVs, storage sheds, trampolines, pool tables, wine cellars, all of these things. And I just want to make sure that I talk through them clearly of understanding right now. And remember, all we're doing is assuming the close. Think about the psychology of this. They're telling me everything that they want to make sure that this is a perfect sale, and they're already going down this journey with us. But I need to get really clear. So I'm like, okay, when I walked through the home, you had 3 wall-mounted TVs. Is the plan to remove those TVs and the brackets and patch the wall? Do you want to include the TVs? Do you want to leave the brackets? What would you like to do? Okay, and then they're going to say, well, I'd really like to take our brand new Samsung refrigerator with us. You can start to just go whatever they want. Just go, okay, okay, okay. You're taking the order all the way, no matter how crazy that order may sound, right? Now we've taken the order, and I will go back to that first question. When you asked them about the initial asking price, if they don't give you a number, they go, well, this is your Tiger driver. I really want to know what you think. That's why we have you here. Well, how much do you think our house is worth? Doug, it's not how much I think your house is worth. First of all, I want to understand what you would like to have as your initial asking price, that you want to make sure that I'm here for you, right? This is about you. Now, I did complete a very detailed market analysis, and we can definitely talk about the comparables and pricing strategy, but I just want to know from you, what do you want for your home? It's your home, Doug. You know, you've put the time and effort into it. What would you like for the home? Always coming from a place of understanding. I need to know from them what the line is at, so then I know the gap that I've got to close. If at this point you go, well, the comps are telling us 550, or the comps are telling us this, or I did a detailed report, here, let me show you the comps. From everything I can see, I think it's about 525. If you're saying this, and in the back of their mind, they think 650, anything you say moving forward, they don't care, because they now hate you. They just hate you. Not personally, but they hate your opinion of their house, they hate your opinion of their price, they hate a lot of these things. So I go really calm, and remember, we're going into bomb diffuser mode on this, where we talk slow and soft. Anytime we talk about price, just step back from the ledge, sir. You're going to be fine. It's not worth it. Like, let's just chill for a second and just calm down. So when I'm talking to this, if they do just get frustrated at any point, and this would be rare, but this would be your high D driver Tigers, and they're like, I don't know, you need to tell us. I'll go, excellent. Well, let's look at the comparables. And then I'll go through comparables and go, now that you've seen the data and all of the information, now what do you feel is the active or the correct pricing, so that we can get a lot of people to see your beautiful home, so you can be in a position to turn down offers instead of sitting on the market not receiving any offers at all. Okay? So we've taken the full order. In this instance, we're going to use a scenario and just say that the house, and let's be clear before we talk about price. And a lot of you laugh when I do this example. Put in the chat box one of your pet names. I don't care if it's a dog, a cat. You can say my dog's name is Fred. Lulu, oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Ariella, all right. So Ariella, I'm assuming Lulu's a dog. I don't know if that's a cat name. Is that a dog? It's got to be a dog, right? So Lulu. So we've got Lulu as a dog. So again, we're going in with a pricing strategy, knowing that you're going to risk Lulu's life if you come in at a price and this home doesn't sell in 24 hours. So what I mean by that, when you've done your pricing strategy, you've looked at every comparable. You're not trying to guesstimate what you think the price could possibly go for, what you think could do this. If this house doesn't sell in 24 hours, I take a revolver and Lulu's head goes bye-bye. And I know that's graphic, and I know, but I want you to have that kind of fear. We used to do the example of you kick it off the bridge from Anchorman, right? That's also terrible, right? But Lulu's not going to make it. Lulu's head is now gone because you went into a mindset advising a seller on what you think the house could possibly go to, not a guaranteed number, because who sets the market value for the home? Do we? No, the buyers set the market value for the home. We set an initial asking price to get as much interest as humanly possible within the right realm of reason, right? We're not going to take a $500,000 house and list it at 100 grand. But I will tell you, if you did that, you would have a ton of activity and people would come and see the house and it would still end up over market value. The challenge that we have, and I want to be really clear on this as agents, is the way that we were taught is try to set the highest price you can. And then if you don't get the highest price, reduce it, reduce it, reduce it, reduce it, reduce it. Every time you reduce a house price, you're telling the market, this house isn't actually worth what we thought. So now we got to kind of take a chop at it. And maybe if we keep dropping it low enough, somebody will finally buy it. And maybe they'll give us some crappy terms once we do it. This is where the whole game is different. We've got to have a mindset of we get as many people in the home as possible. They compete over it and understand. We're going to provide the seller preferred terms and say what the seller is looking for. And I'm going to talk about that in a second and tell them exactly what they want. But if no one comes to see the house, you can't sell it, right? You can't sell it. Now that little devil on your shoulder is telling you right now, well, I had a property on the market once for 9 weeks and we finally found the right buyer and they came in at full price. That's a lottery ticket. Does that happen? Just like anything happens. Can there be a rare chance, a 1% opportunity? But we talked about our graph last week in our presentation that shows you very clearly, right, our time on market and what happens. These are real stats. You can't make these stats up. These are real things, right? So we know on average, the longer you're on the market, the less you receive for your home. Period. End of story.